we have a very special, unfortunate conjunction that's happening on June 9th, 2026. Venus and Jupiter meet in the sky at the same degree, at the same sign, so in Cancer, at 25 degrees, the two most benevolent forces in classical astrology, and they're in full embrace. And this is a day to receive, not to push, not to force things to happen. It's not needed, right? So it's more of an energy of opening and magnetizing and doing that through feeling and through gratitude. Jupiter operates through gratitude. So it's an aspect that could move by quickly and just become like a duvet day, and maybe that's what you need, right? Is a nice cozy Cancerian duvet day. Sometimes that is the benefit, that is the fortunate moment, but there might be more if we are open to it, and if we recognize that this energy is happening. And Jupiter tends to respond to gratitude. Now, the chart for this moment has some features to it that create a sort of rich story and one that has some complexity to it. So we'll get into that as well. So again, in classical astrology, Venus and Jupiter are called the Benefics. They're the principles in the sky that bless. And it's not because, they're simple or sentimental, but because they're the forces through which gift and grace and abundance move through the world. And Venus is the principle of magnetism, the way that things are drawn together, the way beauty attracts what is needed, the way love and pleasure and value form the gravity of a life. Like what we find beautiful, we tend to value, and what we value, we tend to find beautiful. Yeah. And then Jupiter is the principle of expansion. So what makes things grow, right? And what opens a horizon, what blesses with more even than was asked for, and it makes room for moreness. Jupiter is kind of moreness. Jupiter is the gift that exceeds the request, right? And the gifts that we get just because we are alive. And it's the principle of yes. You can kind of think of it as almost the opposite of Saturn, who's the principle of no. If you've ever had a Saturn transit, which we all have, then you know how that feels, right? That's the more contraction. Jupiter's the opposite. Although I would argue that Saturn is also the principle of yes in disguise, because Saturn gets us up to speed, gets us bona fide for what we are wanting to say yes to. Jupiter is more likely to arrive when we are ready and we have space to receive, and when we're in that kind of state of gratitude and recognition, when we're noticing that something is there, that this is happening, right? And we're looking for what is good. So this conjunction is happening in Cancer, and Jupiter in Cancer is exalted. And this is a very special kind of dignity in the classical astrology. It's different from rulership. Well, a planet is exalted when the sign elevates the planet's nature to its highest, most generous expression, right? And so when Jupiter is being hosted by the moon, Jupiter's in the moon's domicile, Jupiter can really flourish and expand and really do its magic here. And it's resourced then in turn to resource us in the house that Jupiter is transiting through. So it's worth looking at where Jupiter and Venus are making this conjunction in your chart. And if you want help with knowing what kind of transits are coming into the picture, you can always get a reading with me. So Jupiter in Cancer is where he can be his most benevolent, and where he works in the realm of emotions and what is tender. So he's exalted and blesses what is in the realm of feeling, in the realm of emotion. Here he expands the heart, the home, the sense of belonging, our roots, and we get benefit from family, and not just our blood family, but the people that we call family. So Cancer is the sign of the heart's interior, of safety, what holds us, the deep waters where the most important relationships are formed and tended, like, when we were in the womb. Jupiter's kind of that expansion of growth, and growth happens in the womb, where things gestate and they can grow in that kind of safe space in the womb, and develop and get bigger and get ready to be born. So Jupiter in this sign is operating in the realm of being held, right? And the realm of feeling, being genuinely cared for, of belonging and being received. That which is nurtured tends to grow, like a garden. When we nurture the garden, we nurture a child, we nurture a relationship, it grows. So when Venus joins Jupiter at the exact same degree in Cancer, something is being offered, something is being magnetized, something tender and intimate, and a sense of being met in some way. Now, Venus and Jupiter meet every year, like every 13 months or so, but this one is special because Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. And so it's very potent and it's very resourced. In other words, Jupiter can really assist Venus here. And as a conjunction, it's the beginning of a cycle of benefit and of fortune. So setting your intention for what you would like to see bloom in your life, what you would like to nurture and see grow, that can be really beneficial to you as you harness these energies. So what is built in, what's built in the field of this day has that potential to grow. One of the ways you can prepare for it is by expanding your rubber band, so to speak. And our rubber band is, in theory, is this kind of sense of ourselves as only being this big rather than that big. So it's the way we're used to being. That's as far as our rubber band of our self-concept can expand until it snaps, right? So when we stretch our rubber band by doing maybe affirmations or practicing, holding ourselves in a different posture, maybe dressing differently, like the whole dress for the part kind of thing, just sort of imagining what it feels like to actually be in the reality that we would like to see manifest. That's a practice, right? So when we practice that, what we're doing is we're training our neurology, we're training our energy field to be comfortable with more. And so a great practice that you can do leading up into June 9th is to expand your rubber band so that when the goodies come through, and we all like goodies, when the goodies come through, you're able to hold it. You have the space for what's coming in. So Jupiter and Venus are staying in the moon's home, so to speak, right? And the moon is the one who is the host. And the moon is in Aries and close to Saturn in Aries. So what does come in terms of fortune needs to be backed up by action, right? And so when we get the inspiration, we want to be acting on it. So it's not just passive, it's open, it's receiving, but receiving isn't passive. Receiving is an action. It's a decision. And it's a decision to be present and to be open to what we're sensing. So receiving is feeling. We receive through feeling what's there, through sensing it, letting what arrives land without immediately measuring it, needing to deserve it. It's not about deserving. It's about being sort of a match and or jumping into the future. It's really about presence. That's what's required most. It's not a test. It's an offering. On this day, Lilith will also be opposing the sun. Remember, she was applying to the sun this opposition at the full moon in Sagittarius that we just had last week. So she is opposing the sun. She's the undomesticated wild that we honored with that Sag full moon. And that's something that was emerging that needed more attention and more space and more freedom. She does not oppose the gift that's coming in. She makes sure that it is real and that it's aligned. So she won't allow the version of receiving that requires you to make yourself smaller or more agreeable to be able to receive it. So she's there to kind of make sure that you don't kind of pretzel yourself so that you can deserve or kind of clutch or compromise yourself in any way. She won't allow the blessing that comes in to become a leash, right? To become any kind of strings attached control thing, right? So she's asking that what you receive be received, with your wild self intact, not bewitched, right? Not defanged, but with your full agency. So this is a tension that's there, but I think it gives it a richness, and it's making sure that the offering meets the whole of you rather than the curated version. And both can be true at once, right? Both must be true for the gift to be actually a gift. Yeah. And then Chiron is also here as well, in the last degree of Aries. Some of you did request a video for Chiron moving into Taurus, so I will be making that for you next week. So look for that. Chiron's, as he's moving out of Aries, he's in a square with both Venus and Jupiter on this day. So this makes this a bit more complex, but again, also rich. Chiron in the mix is kind of asking that we recognize that we don't have to be perfect to receive, right? It's okay to still be wounded about stuff. It's okay to have parts of you that are, whatever you think is not beautiful. You don't have to be, anything to be able to receive and be blessed by the universe. And what is meeting you is meeting the wholeness of you, right? So not just the places where you're showing up well, you're showing up polished, right? So again, a lot of the same things that Lilith is saying, ways that we might block receiving because we think some part of us is shameful or ugly, and we all have something like that. That's part of being human. So it's okay to still be messy, right? We don't have to be perfect. We just do have to be receptive, right? And again, receptivity isn't passivity. It is a state that we choose to be in, and that is a practice to cultivate. So Jupiter and Venus are weaving fortune. This is a generous, magnetic meeting in the sign of feeling and the heart, and the great benefic at his most generous and the goddess at her most magnetic. It's not something to be earned or optimized or to curate yourself to ta-da me. You don't have to do that. It's just being willing to receive as the whole self you are, your wildness included and your wounding included. I would just like to take an opportunity to invite you to join me on my Patreon. So you'll get your weekly astrology rundown, and you can join our community as well. The link is in the description. So if you have Aries Rising, the conjunction lands in your 4th house. This is home, this is root, this is the private interior of your life. And it's the ground beneath everything else. And what is being offered to you is tenderness at the foundation. So a deeper sense of home in the place you live, or in your own body as the place that you actually live. So really kind of softening and expanding into your own presence. A softening maybe in a family relationship could be something that could come in. So I know how much you love to be moving, and that's one of your greatest gifts, is that you move forward and you move things forward. But this can give you a sense of belonging that doesn't require that you are in motion, that you need to maybe stop and receive what's coming in. There could be a piece of news or a moment of recognition that lands in your inner life and in your family life. And maybe something also can come through your ancestors that you maybe hadn't heard before, a new piece of information, or somebody that you meet that you are related to who brings benefit or a positive relationship into your life. So the message for you is the root is being graced and blessed. Let yourself come home to it. If you have Taurus Rising, the conjunction lands in your 3rd house, and this is the house of your voice and how you use language, your immediate environment, and the way that your mind, the way you connect with other people, network, and daily exchange, right? And also siblings and local spirits. So what is being offered to you is grace through words and communications and connections. So there can be a conversation that opens something, a piece of writing, yours or someone else's, that arrives at the exact correct moment. Maybe you publish something that expands your horizons in some way, post something that is successful in a way that matters to you, or some kind of blessing that comes through lateral relationships or your local environment in some way. So you love depth, you love slow building, but you need to stay open to what arrives in passing this time. So things that are quick, things that are seemingly small. The 3rd house is not known to be the most glamorous house, but it's the house where everything is in our daily, again, connections and relationships. And what the message is to you is listen to what is being said to you. The gift is in the messages, and the messenger brings the gift. If you have Gemini Rising, the conjunction lands in your 2nd house. This is the house of resource, worth, what you have, and what sustains you. It's your finances, and it's also your talents. So what's being offered to you is a abundance that is material, not abstract, but concrete. So a piece of fortune that arrives in your, on the earth plane, right? In the 5 senses world. And this is also a blessing in terms of, shifting how you value yourself, how you price what you do. So it's a good time to raise your prices. How you let yourself receive what you're worth. So that requires, remember that rubber band theory we talked about earlier. It's giving you blessing in terms of recognition, and recognition that your worth is not contingent on being interesting or quick or many, all the things, but you are simply, fundamentally worth a great deal. Not just being witty and funny and things you say, but just inherently. Yeah? So you hold many possibilities at once, and that's part of your genius. Just let yourself settle on this one. The gift is in claiming what is actually yours. And the message to you, open your hands. Fortune wants to land in them. If you have Cancer rising, the conjunction is in your first house. Your body, it's in your sign, right? So it's kind of about you right now. You're one of the stars of this conjunction. This is especially fortunate for you. And the first house has to do with your presence in the world and how you present yourself and how people receive you, when you walk into the room. And so what is being offered to you is yourself blessed. The exalted Jupiter and the goddess of love, they're meeting in your sign. So you're being graced directly by name. A new relationship to your own beauty is available, your own warmth, your own magnetism, and the gift of a felt sense of being loved by someone, by your life, by an animal in your life, by family, by something larger than yourself. So being maybe a sense of being just loved by the universe. That also is a practice. Doors are going to open for you. And the conjunction is treating your presence as the place where the gift wants to be received. So you're showing up and being present with yourself. So you spend a lot of love on others and on nurturing others. But right now, the spotlight of fortune is on you. So the message is, you are the recipient. Let it land. If you have Leo rising, the conjunction lands in your 12th house. And this is the unconscious, the hidden, what works in you behind the scenes, beneath the surface, of things. 12th house is the oceanic collective unconscious, which can be like, wow, I don't even know where to place that. But we access that, at night and in our dreams and in kind of trance state and in meditative states. So it's the Akashic records also. And what is being offered to you is grace in the unseen and in the archetypal realm that sort of comes through again in your dreams. So something is opening in your inner life, and you can best access this fortune in solitude. This doesn't mean like force yourself to be lonely, but to be with yourself so you can really listen for what this conjunction is saying to you. There can be, incoming a sense of being held by something larger than you can articulate, a sense of awe, a spiritual or experience in meditation that really shifts your sense of things and opens things up to a bigger reality. A piece of fortune that arrives privately or maybe even secretly. That's kind of intriguing, isn't it? So the blessing this time it's not sort of spotlighted. It's kind of there when you are still and when you are really receptive to it. So when you're in kind of a non-waking state or semi-waking state. So Leo, you are made to be seen, and that is one of the most beautiful things about you. But this gift is coming in with you as the audience, right? So there's a call in for trust. And the message for you is the interior is being graced and blessed. Let it stay sacred to you. What is developing behind the scenes will come out onto the stage. If you have Virgo rising, the conjunction lands in your 11th house, and this is the house of community and belonging and the people who share your frequency and the wider circle of your life, people that you share a vision with, you co-create with. And what is being offered to you is belonging. So this is a friendship that can deepen, a community that arrives or strengthens or finally feels like you might feel your place in it, right? And that place in it expands or gives you benefit in some way. So a piece of fortune comes through your people, right? A connection made, an opportunity passed along, a recognition, received from those who really see you and your unique thing that you bring to the group, right? So there's a new ease in being a part of something. And the conjunction is asking you to be on the receiving end of the field that you usually tend so carefully. So you hold a lot for others. So this is a moment to practice that practice of receiving, letting people hold you. So the message is, let yourself be loved by the ones who love you. That is the gift. If you have Libra Rising, the conjunction lands in your 10th house. This is your vocation. Think vocal, right, is calling. So you're calling, public life, and the way your work and your calling appears in the world, right? So it's your reputation also, and how people see you in society, and how you see society as well. So what's being offered to you is visibility that fits you. A moment of recognition for your special gifts. So it's an opportunity in your calling, this realm of calling, which is career can fall into that, but it's more than career also. And there's an opportunity in your work that arrives as something substantial. So not just a step forward, but a piece of fortune and a change and an expansion in your status. So the 10th house is status. And when we have this expansive energy here, your status also expands. So there might be a piece of news in your professional life that feels like grace, or a new ease in being seen for what you actually do. You bring beautiful balance to everything, and the world has benefited from that, so that now the recognition gets to meet you this time. Your special gifts that you bring. And so the message for you is, you are being seen. Let it be sweet. If you have Scorpio Rising, the conjunction lands in your 9th house. And this is belief and philosophy. This is the open horizon, the long journey that expands what you understand to be possible. It's higher learning also, so education and travel, the world beyond your backyard. And what is being offered to you is expansion. So new belief, new framework, new sense of possibility that opens a horizon. Travel, literal or philosophical, some kind of learning, fortune coming through a teacher, or a book that changes your life, a piece of writing that arrives at the perfect moment. Maybe you publish something that's important, that gives you brings more fortune into your life. There's a wider sense of meaning that's opening up. So the blessing this time is spacious. It asks you to look up, look out, and trust that something larger is on offer. Now you're made for the depths, right? And that's one of your superpowers. So we want you to receive what is wide and open and bright. So the message to you is, the horizon is opening. Walk toward it. If you have Sagittarius Rising, the conjunction lands in your 8th house. And this is intimacy, shared resource, transformation. It's what is hidden and what is in mystery, right? So it's a very powerful house associated with Pluto. And what's being offered to you here, Sagittarius, is depth. A relationship deepens in a way that is a gift. Someone meets you at a level you maybe didn't realize you were ready for, and something comes of that. Maybe there's a financial or material exchange that arrives as a real support, an inheritance, a shared resource, a partnership that opens something material. The 8th house is also the house of other people's money. And so it's, again, the way that our finances merge and the way we exchange energy, exchange power, and exchange emotional connection. So this is the area where the fortune is coming in, is in the area of intimacy. And so something may change because it's met by someone who can actually, really arrive for you. So you love the open country, and that's one of your most beautiful qualities. So now you let yourself stay close enough to receive what only closeness can give you. So the message for you is the depth is reaching for you. Let it find you. If you have Capricorn Rising, the conjunction lands in your 7th. This is the mirror, the significant other, the one who is across from you at the table. This is the house of marriage. And again, the other. So what is being offered to you is meeting. A partnership that deepens, that opens, that arrives. Someone sees you in a way that lands as, recognition. A collaboration finds its footing. A relationship offers a new kind of sweetness or happiness. Not the kind that has to be built or maintained or is going to require a lot of work, but something that arrives in the warmth between yourself and another. So the blessing this time is across from you, and it comes through relationship. Yeah, so you are extraordinary at building, and this is one of your great gifts. Just let this one be received rather than constructed. So the message for you, Capricorn, is the meeting is the gift. Let it meet you. If you have Aquarius Rising, the conjunction of Venus and Jupiter lands in your 7th house. And this is your body, your daily life, the rhythms and the work that form the texture of your days. So all the details of your daily life, your daily rituals, what you eat, your diet, and your health. So what's being offered to you is ease in the everyday. The new rhythm in your body that begins to actually feel nourishing. A workplace shift that brings genuine fulfillment and pleasure. So the 6th house is our day job and how we spend a lot of our time in our day job. So fortune may come to you through your day job. So a daily routine may arrive that feels graceful rather than functional only. Your health may improve in a small way, but a real way, or maybe a big way. The blessing this time isn't in the visionary work or the larger goal or the future. The 6th house is very much about the texture of how you actually live, hour by hour. It's said that the way we live our life, minute to minute, the way you're living your life right now, is how you live your life. So you think in the long arc and the larger pattern, and that's your genius. So now the way you receive this conjunction is to let yourself notice what's becoming sweeter in the ordinary. So the message to you, Aquarius, is the blessing is in the daily. Let it find you there. If you have Pisces Rising, the conjunction lands in your 5th house. And this is creativity and pleasure, risk-taking, inner child, desire, and your creative capacity. What you create from your imagination, and also recreation, recreation, to create yourself again. And again, recreation is to play. That's what creates us again. So what is being offered to you is delight. A creative project that opens your heart, a romance, a flirtation, a piece of pleasure that has no purpose beyond just being pleasurable, playful, joy, something that is just for you, that comes from your heart, that comes from your creativity, that comes from something personal, rather than being absorbed into the larger field. So this isn't on behalf of someone else. The blessing this time is for you and your joy and your delight. So this is a specific desire that may be met with this conjunction. So this is a creative current that flows easily, and that's yours. So getting into flow and getting into that flow state brings in the fortune. So you're made for the collective and what dissolves, and that's one of your gifts, right? Is your ability to dissolve into the one. But now you're to let yourself have this one as something specific to you. The message for you is enjoyment belongs to you. Let yourself play.